Restructuring. This is the Common Show.
Hello, fellow Nigerians, greetings to you all from wherever you are joining us from. This is the Comrade Show, and it is a segment we call the Comrade and Friends. My name is Comrade Lante Ikmousa Oriahi. I'm your host tonight. Uh, Today's program is quite special. Special because it's a continuation of where we stopped last week. We are having a very special person. For those who joined us last week, of course, you recall that we had Professor Utomi, and it was a splendid program. Unfortunately, network disturbed a lot. We had glitches, and we were unable to complete the program. And of course, Professor Utomi did promise that he was going to come back again, so we can, have this discourse. And what is the discourse? The topic is the dynamics of 2023 elections and Nigeria's quest for effective leadership. If you are joining us, please, I enjoin you to share this broadcast. Let it go round. I am not alone. I am here with the same team that we were together last week Sunday. And I'm going to start with by letting you know that Comrade Dr. Tony Agbons is right here in the house. Dr. Agbons, you're welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much, my brother, Comrade Lante Ponsauriahi. A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all viewers of the Comrade Show on all our social media platforms. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I welcome you all to today's show.
Splendid. We equally have a Comrade pharmacist Austin Iremiran right in the house.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, our great fans and viewers of the Comrade Show. It's a pleasure to be in your midst again today, the 6th of March. And I'm indeed very happy that we have Prof again in the house because we have to continue from where we started last time. And I enjoy you, our people. Remember the deal, always share. It promises to be a unique one. Always the Sunday tonic.
Interestingly, we are very privileged to have another special person. This is very special, a lady in our midst. She's an Amazon, one who's contributing so much to make Nigeria a better place. She's not other but Dr. Loretta Oduwari Oboroko. Dr. Oduwari, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, comrades and friends. Can we see me?
Very well.
Yes.
It's very, very humbling to be here. And I'm really pleased that we have Prof in the house today. On the road to 2023 and many more, we'll have very interesting cross-fertilization of ideas. Thank you, our brothers and sisters all over the world who are watching. My name is still Loretta Oduwari Oboroko. Thank you.
Beautiful. Just before we go into the nitty-gritty of the matter, let me quickly let you know that today is very special. It's a day of a kind in that two members of this team, the Comrade and Friends, have their wives coincidentally having their birthdays today. And that's not the only coincidence. These women are from the same region as the professor we are hosting today. I'm glad to let you know that Comrade Dr. Agbon Sevaife and of course my humble self, our wives have their birthdays today. I mean, you can see their pictures on screen. And it's a huge celebration and all of that. I'm sure we're going to have time to talk about this while we go into the matter. And so we're going to launch the matter by welcoming Prof specially to the program. Professor Pat Utomi, sir, you are welcome to the program, and we are glad to have you right here with us again.
Thank you so very much. I'm so pleased to be able to join you this evening. Evening from Nigeria, that is.
Yes, it's essential we put that in perspective that Prof is joining us all the way from Nigeria. Prof, I just want to have a word at this. Two of your daughters married to two sons of the Comrade and Friends. What do you have to say to this?
that we data people, we do great things. We know how to capture and to hold. And I wish them very, very happy birthday. And as they continue to keep both of you of good behavior.
Thank you very much, Prof. Well, without much ado, let us go into the matter proper. Prof, let us start from where we did not stop, about the other alternative. You were on that matter, and of course, people were beginning to follow. Now, Dr. Agbons did ask last week, the ordinary man in the marketplace, like our mama then, how do they understand this other alternative when somebody like you, they project?
Well, it would be say, if you go market, they go tell you say ground no level. Because if you go market now, price of every good, it don't skyrocket. If you go market today, but to enter the market go hard because petrol station cost goes low everywhere for Nigeria. Now, if na Abuja you dey, na Benin you dey, na Asaba you dey, or Lagos, to move around a big wahala. Aeroplane, as we did so, aeroplane don't increase price. Double. I come Abuja, I don't know as I will go back to Lagos because pocket not empty. So everybody does say country no be as it's supposed to be. Because country no be as it's supposed to be, everybody they pray, say, God, which kind time this kind wahala government go come out? Make people we no say people they suffer, can't help people, make them make life better for everybody. So really from the grassroots up, everybody knows that the Nigerian people are exhausted. They want some creativity to how we are governed that will take advantage of the resources that we have. I mean, look at this current paradox. We always say, oil prices are going down, Nigeria economy is in trouble. Now, oil prices have gone up dramatically. I mean, when last did we hear of $100 a barrel petrol or crude oil? But it is here. And what is happening? Because we have failed through the years to actually allow the refineries to work, we give the contract to do turnaround maintenance to market women. Where we are today, we are going to be importing petrol bought at that $100 and something a barrel, refined abroad, shipped back to us. So the price will be so high that we are definitely in serious trouble. That is the challenge of the moment that we face. And we need creative thinkers. Unemployment, all those mama them waiting for market. They are picking where them borrow money, send go university. They don't graduate to 4 or 5 years, they never get work. So how for do? But we say we won't offer alternative, we get special approach where we go take create jobs, millions of jobs immediately, and begin to reskill, train young people, make them get new kind of skill to drive the kind of economic growth where we need for Nigeria to take better for everybody. Yeah, 1 second.
Let me quickly go to the lady in the house. Dr. Loretta Oduwara-Boroko. Can you follow up on this? What's your question for Prof?
Thank you very much, Professor. You just talked about these alternative, and you talk well for language where our mama them and our brothers them we're not too sabi big grammar to go understand. My question be say recently Nigeria, in the past few days, we've not been very pleased with a bill that has emanated from inside our lawmakers them place. What has the alternative movement got to say about this? And what do you think we can do as a people so that first people understand the need for women participation in all things, not just political, but governance, and as well as the fact that these may even be the solution to a lot of our problems? What does the alternative pathway look like?
Well, very, very simply, what happened in the National Assembly was a disgrace to the dignity of the Nigerian person, a big shame in the face of the fact that we know that our women are the cornerstone of society. Our children, we are all brought up by these women. We know how those of us who travel in Africa know that we're not talking about Europe or Americans. In Africa here, Nigeria is one of the worst examples. You go to Rwanda, you see the number of women in parliament. You see the number of women holding cabinet positions. The alternative is assuring, first of all, that we are going to take a revenge for the Nigerian people. Everybody who voted against that particular provision in this constitutional amendment, we're going to work assiduously with the women to assure that none of them ever gets elected again in this country for the rest of their lives. Because what happened, it was not that the work was not done. Enlightenment took place. The delegations, they even bowed in front of the president, begged him to beg them. He begged them, all kinds of things. And still, a small group of people wanting to bring shame to all of us did not have any sensitivity and voted the way they did. Politics is about accountability. If we don't hold them accountable for their misjudgment, deliberate ones, we will see that they will continue to do that which is wrong by our people. That is one. The second, the alternative is very clear, that any cabinet we put in place next year in this country will have more than 40% of its constitution as women. That we will take young people and have in those positions of authority to work for their country. Look, the people who ran this country under military rule were in their 20s and 30s. Even me, where they here, I'll be 27 when I be presidential advisor for this country. So what is all this thing? They call young people lazy. They are the ones who are lazy as far as I know. I am every day working with young people in the tech space and all of that. This year, young people working in the tech space will attract nearly $4 billion in fresh investments into the tech space. So, what do we earn from this famous crude oil? What do we earn from the things that these people tend to pursue as the be it all and end all? All they do is want to share. They don't understand that economies grow only from produce, not share. We must clear this audience table. Many of these people should not return to public life. We need a new beginning. We need a fresh beginning. We need young people. We need women so that our country can have a sense of direction. This is what the challenge of now is for our country. The vote was unacceptable, the vote of last week. It is a travesty. It is an embarrassment. It is a disgrace. And all right-thinking Nigerians must work to reverse it.
Thank you very much, Prof. Please, if you are watching us from wherever platform, whether Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you're watching us from, please help share this broadcast. It's important. The topic is the dynamics of 2023 elections and Nigeria's quest, for effective leadership. We're going to be opening the lines so that people can call in and ask questions. If you're unable to get through, with calling in, you can drop your questions on wherever you're watching from, whether on YouTube or Facebook, wherever. We can pick some of these questions from there. And of course, but I tell you, Professor Pat Utomi has, in-depth idea of how to get things around. And of course, he's going to be sharing all of these experiences. I want to quickly turn to my brother, Comrade Pharmacist Remira. What's your question for Prof?
Thank you so much. Comrade Latif Bawosaraki, and thank you, Prof, for being with us. Just before I ask my question, in the course of you talking, you mentioned something about petroleum. And I just want to share something that came out last week in a party in Lagos. We now have souvenirs as fuel loaded in jerry can. That is absolutely shameful. Our country, Nigeria, tried to trivialize things. But the question is, will you blame them if the government were up to their responsibility? Will not be here. I think we're going to dwell more on that maybe in subsequent episode on the Comrade Show, because I hear the Lagos state government has closed down the event center and there's serious investigation. Really laughable, the true story of where we are at the moment. So, Prof, I asked this question last Sunday. I want to ask it again. Last week or the week before, the governor of, I think, Kano or Kaduna State, Kwankwaso, also formed another group called the National Movement. And we have yours, led by other notable Nigerians. You've said we shouldn't call it third force, maybe the third alternative. My question is, understanding the dynamics of Nigeria and how difficult it is and the challenges that we have, knowing that we have these two big pillars, the APC and the PDP, how and what is the plan? Because we wouldn't want a situation where there will be so many third forces and all our projections will be derailed and we will not really get where we want to go to. So I want you to tell Nigerians and our viewers, how is the third force or the third alternative planning to make it happen?
The alternative platform is designed to be a big tent that will take in everybody. But the thrust of its momentum must come from people who are fresh, who are creative, who are passionately committed to the people. It must be a people's movement. There are many okay people in the PDP, APC, which constitute one segment of the political spectrum, because they're the same thing, APC, PDP, there's no difference really. The people's-based alternative platform, which is the one we're creating, like we say, is a big tent on a moving train. And people are free to join as the train enters their station. Kwankwaso has indicated interest in this moving train. On the 6th of February, which was my birthday, we held an event in Lagos on this initiative. And Kwankwaso was present there. We all agreed to create what it was called a fusion council, the council that will lead to the fusion of this social movement, civil society organizations, and many political parties. I happen to be chairman of the Fusion Council, and Governor Kwankwaso was one of those nominated to serve on this council, along with people like Dr. Usman Bugaje, leaders from just across the spectrum of the country. My thinking is that he created this big event to attract attention to the fact that he has moved out of the PDP, APC flank and is identifying with the alternative platform. And usually in Nigerian politics, this is my speculation, you want to show that what you are bringing into the party is a big thing. So you have your own initiative. But when the train moves in, you better just enter the train. Our expectation, our hope is that he and his group will enter this same train that we are going forward driving. So I don't see it as a threat, a competition or anything. I see it as part of building the need for a new platform that is against the PDP APC coalition, which has undermanaged Nigeria in 20-something years, crippled it, brought us to a place where today Nigeria is insecure. Any which place you look at, You go to the southeast. I just lost a friend 3 weeks ago. It's a businessman in Port Harcourt. Just went to his hometown and was driving back, and they shot at him and killed him. Why? Oh, they thought he because his car was attractive, he may be a politician. There's now this anti-politician orientation that if you look like a politician, it could be your death sentence. Tragic. Across the south or the northwest, we call it bandits. The bandits are at work. Across the northeast, insurgents are at work. Around the Benue area, the headsmen, whatever it is violence Nigeria writ large. And this is making life unbearable for people. I was talking to Dr. Usman Bugaji the other day, his brother in Katsina, the president's home state, who is a health officer, says he can't leave his home just out of fear, so he doesn't go to work anymore. That's how bad things are in those places. And so those of you who may be far away, when you reflect to know what we're going through in Nigeria, that is the situation. Of course, people can't go to farms. Because if they can't go to farms, we have to depend mainly on food importation. The two biggest items on our import bill today in Nigeria are two things Nigeria should be exporting: petrol and food. This is the tragedy of the Nigerian condition, and this is what makes a change an imperative. It's an existential crisis, the situation we are in Nigeria, and all people of goodwill must commit to changing things. How are we going to do it? You know, to just get a sense for how not so difficult this is, consider this. The new incoming governor of Anambra State, the governor-elect, Chukwuma Soludo, won his elections a few weeks ago. How many people voted for him to become governor-elect? Well, 100 and something thousand people. You say, okay, maybe there was crisis in the southeast, maybe this, maybe that. Let's come to the most safe part of Nigeria, Lagos. In the last elections, Jide Sanwo-Olu is a good friend of mine, former student of mine, quite frankly, won the election. Now, this is a state that is believed to be the ultimate machine politics state. It is supposed to be completely in the pocket of a couple of people. They have control of everything. They can mobilize their people to do anything. This is a state where the population is estimated to be anywhere between 20 and 25 million people. How many people voted for Jide Sanwo-Olu? Less than 500,000, 400 and something thousand people. Now, there are many implications of these numbers that I've thrown at you. Now, these 400 and something thousand people include the manipulated ones. I'm assuming that they were, because we know the way our politics runs. The ones that were purchased because they got Jansuke and Jansisale, whichever one it is. The ones, add all of these together, and you get only 400 and something thousand people vote for a governor. Now, if you put together polytechnic students and university students in Lagos, all of who are literally eligible to vote, they exceed that number significantly. They will probably be 1.something million at the very least. What it says to us is that if we just mount a simple campaign to reach all these students and say to them, these people who have made your life unbearable, they can't even pay university lecturers, so you are out of school, strike. These people who have made the only option available to you being escaping from Nigeria, whether it's through the Sahara Desert, you are lucky enough to get a visa to Canada, and these people do not deserve to lead you. All of you, all you have to do is register to vote, go out there and vote. And we will dismiss this whole establishment. People talk juggernaut, PDP, APC. What kind of juggernaut? People who cannot bring out more than 400,000 people to vote in the most popular state in the country, let's be honest, that they control massively. You guys are overestimating these guys, my friends. These guys have run out of legitimacy. Nigerian people have turned their backs on them. All we have to do is get the Nigerian people to believe that they can throw them out. The problem with the elections in our country is that many people believe that, oh, they will just write the number. It doesn't matter what you do. Let's just stay in our house. Believe me, if you go to Kano, you will see an example that shows you that that belief that makes us all, uninterested in elections, that apathy, that it can be overturned easily because it has been done before. And I'll tell the story of my friend. We talked about Kwankwaso, but another friend of mine who defeated him in Kano. It's called Ibrahim Shekarau. How did Ibrahim Shekarau defeat Kwankwaso, who was the incumbent governor? Ibrahim Shekarau was a civil servant. And, he would say, look, this is the way things should be done. The politicians would say, no, my friend, we have authority. Go and put that buckhole in that man's backyard. And after a while, they began to say, look, this man is troublesome. Sack him. And the commission say, look, okay, Governor, this man is a civil servant. We can't just sack him like that. What did he do? Find something. Let him, accuse him of anything. Sack him. They say, no, okay, okay, Governor, there's a better way. Why don't we just put him out of commission, put him out of the way, send him back to his parents' ministry, because he used to be a teacher. Send him back to the Ministry of Education. And Minister of Education sent him back to the classroom. So when he got to the classroom, the student said to him, why don't you challenge this governor and run against him? He said, me? Sorry, Bande Kudi, I cannot engage this big politician with all the money in the world. No, sorry, I can't do it. Then one day he went somewhere, and this story was told to me, not by third parties, by Ibrahim Shekarau himself. And he went somewhere someday, and he ran into Laji Maitama Sule, the Messenger Kanu of blessed memory. And Maitama Sule said to him, Ibrahim, I hear you are a coward. He said, Excellency, how did I become a coward? The students are asking you to run, and you are saying you don't have money. Who told you this money that wins election? Huh? So that night he said, okay, whatever it is, I have a duty. I will run. And then, of course, he joined the AMPP at the time. When he joined the AMPP, the party did not even care much for his candidacy, but the young people backed him, and he won the nomination in Kanu. Even at that, the leadership of the party, which was led by our incumbent president, General Babangida, did not want to give him the flag. The convention took place in Guzo, and when they were handing out flags, they ignored Kanu until all the youth of Kanu who surrounded the stadium began to make so much noise that Yerima, who was then the governor of Zamfara, just quickly went and grabbed the flag, ignoring General Buhari, and handed it over to Shekarau. That's how Shekarau left the stadium with the flag, to fly AMPP's flag in Kanu. He came back to Kanu, youth followed him, campaigned massively. And when election time came, Central Bank of Nigeria was flying materials in, the youth were at the airport. They followed the materials to the central bank. From the central bank, on election day, they followed the materials everywhere, policed the place, ensured that the votes were cast, and Shekarau beat the incumbent governor by 400 and something thousand votes. So, as in Kanu in 2007, so can it be across the length and breadth of Nigeria in 2003. We can reclaim our country, because if we don't, we may not be around to tell the story. Things are bad. And the people who have brought things so low, made things so bad, are people who do not even have a sense of shame. They don't even realize how bad things are. And they are so disconnected from the people that they are working with a swag. Somebody called it the arrogance of failure. We cannot allow the arrogance of failure to keep us down as a country, because we know there is a better alternative. And that alternative we must offer the Nigerian people in 2023. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof, for that. Thank you for the way you responded to the question. To our viewers and indeed Nigeria, Prof has thrown a challenge. If there is a will, then that will should come in 2023. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much, Prof. As it was in Kano in 2007, so it can be in Nigeria in 2023. Dr. Agbons, what's your question for Prof?
Thank you very much, our chief host. And thank you, Prof, for your cerebral answers yet again. The call is coming in.
Okay, we may have to take this call.
Yeah, we take the call.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. What's your name and where are you calling from, sir?
My name is Dr. Tayeme Ukungbowa.
Dr. Kukbowa, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates.
Go ahead, sir. The Prof can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prof, for making our time to speak with us again. So far, we're hearing a lot of declarations from the giant party, the two clueless parties that have ruled us for the last 20 years. We've all been clamoring and looking forward to having alternatives. We've seen individuals like you and some respected other Nigerians, but so far in the open space as it is now, we're not seeing the alternative coming out. We don't even hear their voices. We don't even know what kind of arrangement they have on ground. We don't even know what they are doing right, even though we know they are still working behind the scenes. Don't you think it's a bit slow the way the alternative is coming up? Because if one thing we should know about our Nigerian electorate is that they believe the noisier the person, individual or organization is, the more likely they are the better choice. That's why those that make gragra almost get the fight too. Is there likelihood of the alternative members, all these other folks, can they come together? You can say there's too many individualism, this one is there. Can they come together to form a solid alternative unit that can win our trust collectively? Because individually, or with the fragmented way they've been, it's likely they can't stand. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you so very much. Well, let me assure you, a strategy is much better than noise. You can make all the noise in the world. The person who has the strategy will leave you face down. But even at that, in terms of what we may call noise, I'm not so sure that it's correct that the alternative platform has been quiet. Just me alone, in the last 5 days, I was on Arise News yesterday, or I was on, and I'm talking about 1 hour programs. Is it Channels One that was recorded the same yesterday that will be broadcast on Tuesday? I was on Channels last week. I'm going to be on Channels again this night. I'm just talking about me alone. The amount of, and then very importantly, this is a part I need to bring in. On Wednesday, Ash Wednesday, the Nigerian Labour Congress hosted a huge meeting bringing labor leaders across the country, bringing special guests. Professor Atahiru Jega was chairman of that occasion, and the conversation was about how labor can become the base platform on which we build this alternative. Was incredible conversation. It was covered, I think, even live by some television stations. I don't remember, but it was fully reported on the network news. The next day, we spent several hours in the office of the chairman or the president of the NLC, a tactical working committee with chairmen of several of the political parties that are going to be in this fusion process. We'll reach some agreements, set up a technical committee to do some work. PRP, which is one of the parties in conversation, was supposed to have their NEC meeting yesterday. They will have had it. As a result of that NEC meeting of yesterday, we are going to have a meeting tomorrow here in Abuja, after which we'll address the media and tell them the direction that we are going as a platform. And we are expectant that we will tell the Nigerian people which way we are traveling. And by next week, we'll be rolling out so many initiatives about this alternative platform that I don't think, and I can tell you for free without any major challenge. Today in Abuja, the Catholic bishops from all over the world, from all over Nigeria, converged. And the Catholic Bishops' Conference is insistent that people be shown a new way. It might be interesting to analyze the vote of the keynote or homily of the Catholic Bishop of Abuja, the Archbishop Ignatius Kaigama, and this morning at Mass, talking about the Nigerian polity and the desire of the church to see a state that cares for its people, to see different kind of people in politics, different from the kind of people who are there today. He was very, very forthright and very explicit in his position. And for the next 1 week, the Catholic bishops are going to be meeting here in Abuja, and a very critical part of their agenda is how their flock can be delivered from the kind of politics we have in Nigeria today. So there is a lot that is ongoing. The consciousness is going to move in a short while to social media and to technology in the tech space, in reaching Nigerians across the spectrum with the message of a new way for Nigeria. We need to get Nigeria working again. And we need people who have the capacity, who have the compassion for the people, and who have the courage to get Nigeria to do what's right, what's needful, to elevate the common good of all, and make our country a place of pride that will claim the promise of its founding fathers, rather than a place where a few individuals have captured the state. And in this state capture, they have allowed the interest of all others to wither. Whereas our culture says, as South Africans are quick to remind us that we are a people of Ubuntu. I am because we are. But our politicians of now want to be there alone. As we say in Warri, in my neighborhood, where we go to, you shop alone, you die alone. And these guys cannot continue to shop alone.
Not so.
Otherwise, they will just die alone.
Not so. Thank you very much, Prof. Over to you, Dr. Agbons. You were on your feet.
Yeah, thank you. I was on my feet before that call came in from Abu Dhabi in UAE. So, Prof, I have two questions loaded into one for you. Experts, a lot of political experts and development experts, I know you are very much into all this, have said that Nigeria no go fit to work if Nigeria is not restructured. They have said that Nigeria cannot work if we don't practice a true federal system where the federating units that make up Nigeria, they work at their own pace. That this current system we are working, even if we go and bring Angel Michael from heaven and Angel Gabriel to come and be deputy vice president or vice president, that it will not work. That the problem of Nigeria is systemic. Say now the system, say the liver of the country, the kidney, and the which other system again, doctor help us. Say they know they work. So what is the alternative, this alternative pathway? What is the thinking in this?
Okay. Well, first of all, we believe that Nigeria needs restructuring. Those who will recall that even the APC manifesto suggested that Nigeria should be restructured. And those who may want to be reminded, need to be reminded that the APC roadmap was written in my house. So we know all the things we said needed to be done. But because a few people, when they are in power, the convenience of being able to use power however they want makes them forget the things that will lead the country to running well. The things that result in the good of everybody. APC did not manage to do what it promised to do in 2015. Now, there are certain people, notable people. Let me take an older man and a younger man who harp on this point all the time. Payo Adebanjo, a leader of Afenifere, says that there should be no election without restructuring because it's pointless. The country cannot be run well. I sympathize with him, but I realize that the people who we are up against will like that, to keep everybody at home saying no election, and they will just take a few people and announce election result and give you a fait accompli. So we cannot say, let's stay at home, because if we don't restructure, we will just find that they will be justified to international community that will refuse to come out to vote. So we should be preparing. While preparing for restructuring, preparing to face them. The young man who is a very bright lawyer, Dele Farotimi, I don't know that he will call himself young anymore quite, but you know, relatively speaking, he's young, much younger than myself. Dele Farotimi, in a remarkable interview, once said that if you bring people with 20 times the power of his intelligence and ask them to run Nigeria, they will still fail, because the whole constitutional arrangement is a series of booby traps. It is true that there are constitutional impediments to progress in Nigeria, but you know, there are many things that leadership can do that can obviate and overcome those. Still, it doesn't take away from the fact that we need to do those things. So as an alternative platform, we already started a constitutional reform process. We elected a constitution review committee that includes Reverend Father George Husani, Olisa Bwakoba, Femi Falana, Akim Baba Ahmed, and so many others. They have been working on providing us a document that we put before the Nigerian people, even as part of the election conversation. Because you see, part of the problem with elections in Nigeria is that we don't look at issues. We focus on big men. Alaji so, Chief that. Well, what we want to do is focus on the big issues, not on the big men. And amongst the big issues that are table as part of the campaign in Nigeria is a draft constitution that will help us go to a more productive base. Because the current arrangement is anti-production. It just favors sharing, everything about sharing, sharing, sharing. And I can assure you that human history shows us that sharing has never made anybody sustainably rich. Go and check the history of Spain. When 200 and something years ago, Spain received huge revenues from the gold ripping off of the conquistadores in Latin America and all of that. The elite of Spain were living like, like Nigerian elites are living today. Those who have captured the states, that is. Yeah, smaller neighbors, Netherlands, Belgium, Switzerland, all those ones focused on investing in their young people so that they can be better and more productive. Spain was enjoying the booty. Move 2-3 generations up, And Spain is a very poor country compared to Switzerland, compared to the Netherlands. What our manifesto will tell Nigerians is that we will invest in our young people massively. If there is anything that is critical for progress, it's education and healthcare. And we will emphasize those. And we'll create an appropriate atmosphere for entrepreneurship so that those well-educated, those well people will be able to create wealth for our people going forward. So, yes, we share in the need for a diversification of the base of the Nigerian economy through restructuring. The reason restructuring has become a badly used term is because it's seen in terms of you take 13%, you give 14%. All of those do not make anybody rich. And I have an example that I give all the time. In the 1960s, I grew up in northern Nigeria. People forget that some of us are truly Nigerian. I was born in Kaduna. I was baptized in Jos. My family lived on Church Street in Jos, where St. Teresa's Catholic Church, where I was baptized, was located. I spent part of my infancy in Maiduguri. I started school in Kano in 1960, and most of the rest of my primary education was in Guzo, in what is today's Zamfara State. Before I moved east, I went to Christ the King's College in Onitsha. Civil War started. I moved west and went to Loyola College in Ibadan. A complete Nigerian upbringing. And one of the things that I learned from my childhood was that Northern Nigeria was a place of remarkable production. Cotton was grown in the north, and industrialization of Northern Nigeria was piggybacked on the cotton endowment, such that Kaduna became the hub of Nigeria's textile industry. In a similar manner, the people of Eastern Nigeria, based on their endowments around palm produce and so on and so forth, began their drive for industrial development, agri and all of that. Southwest of, we all know about the cocoa story and so on and so forth. If we are going to see progress, remembering that, then we must remember that when we suddenly had this convergence of soldiers and oil, when sharing suddenly became the nature of the game. Back in those days I was talking about, there were twice as many local governments in the south as there were in the north. It's a matter of convenience. Nobody bothered with third level of government. But by 1975-76, the Obasanjo administration changed the constitutional arrangement and brought local governments into fiscal transfer system, where 21% or 20.9% of our revenues would now go to the third tier of government. And suddenly the young, powerful officers in the army, significantly northern, began to create more and more and more and more local governments in their areas. By the time they were done, Nigeria had 774 local governments, nearly 500 of which were now in the old north. But guess what? Northern Nigeria has become poorer since then, relative to its old performance and relative to the rest of Nigeria. If there's any proof from that, it is that revenues do not make rich. What makes rich is production. So our strategy must be how to get every part of Nigeria, which is endowed, all parts of Nigeria are endowed, to use their factor endowments to pursue through a concept that structural economists will call latent comparative advantage, the domination of certain global value chains based on their endowment, and wealth and prosperity will come to every part of Nigeria. This is what the future must be about.
Prof, as I listen to you, something, I listen to you just this with rapt attention, the same way I've listened to several politicians. Many of them we can argue have failed us, convincing. They say some of these things that you are re-echoing, and I can tell that many people listen to you right now were like, man, this man is talking to us like a politician. And Nigerians have lost faith in politicians. Seriously. How do you hope to rekindle the people's faith, to believe that this alternative you're talking about is not just, they tell us something, when they eventually get there, they start doing something different? Because the present government we have right now, I understand today that Nigeria is an orphan, because the president of Nigeria is always abroad on medical vacation. The wife right now is permanently based in Dubai. The level of what some people may describe as circumfancy in Nigeria is growing. Just recently, some video, footage emerged. Wives of Nigerian governors bought a cake from Nigeria, traveled all the way to Dubai to present to the wife of the president and celebrate her in Dubai. Meanwhile, the next day, we are getting news that the president is traveling to London for medical checkup. As a matter of fact, he's traveled to Kenya now, and from there he's going to London and all of that, And yet everything is as business as usual. And when we look back down the line, the promises made to Nigerians, they were enormous. People believed the time they were voting Buhari into power that Nigeria was going to change. All of the promises made, as a matter of fact, everything has gone more than 200% worse, the way Nigerians now see it. How can Nigerians trust this alternative? Particularly when you have not even said half of what those people said by way of promise and how to transform Nigeria.
Yeah, just before Prof come in, without your question, I just want to tie it in with what Bakari Henry has said. It's one question. How do we believe that this movement will not be hijacked as it progressed by the recycled politician? I just want to tie that in.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. These are all very, very pertinent questions and very important questions. I was being given a ride the day before yesterday by somebody who used a metaphor I found remarkable. He said, if a woman has been jilted so many times, she invariably becomes frigid. By the time another man comes, her body does not even respond. I thought that it was an incredible...
There's a gynecologist in the house, bro.
Excuse me, sorry. I didn't say I was the one who said it, though. That's why I'm giving credit to somebody who used it.
Prof,
but
don't
anyway,
that territory. No,
I'm not there trouble. I beg you now. But the truth is that Nigerians are... Thank you very much. The truth is that Nigerians are exhausted. They've heard so many things before. But let me tell you one difference in what they're going to be hearing from this platform. Promises in Nigeria in politics are usually about, painting grand pictures that are not operationalized. We will give you roads. We will give you this. We will do this. We will do that. Whatever you hear from this platform will be operationalized, and you will be shown how to hold those who are offering it accountable. So that if we say, for example, we will create 5 million jobs in 1 year, it will show how it can be created. If in 1 year or in 6 months, you have not seen 2.5 million jobs, you say, when I see these people, they don't come again. No, they say they go create 5 million jobs. Yeah, don't go have. They never even create one. You can, because it will be operationalized, so you can hold them accountable. I can give you an example of a clear strategy that we will be projecting. Now, we have so many unemployed young people. In their millions, they are frustrated. They're doing all kinds of terrible things. We're not going to say to them, oh, we will create jobs. We're going to say, look, there's a climate change crisis in the world. The world is imperiled. There are conversations that took place in Glasgow at COP26. They're going to continue in Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt this year, Africa has not offered a strategy. Africa is where the world's forests, like Brazil, are located that can give this planet. So we say, look, guys, we want to ensure that this forest exists. And this is your bill for doing it. Maybe the bill is X billion dollars. We'll put this X billion dollars to work, paying every unemployed graduate 100,000 naira every month on the condition that from 8 a.m. to 12 noon, he's going to be supervising or planting trees wherever he is located in Nigeria. From 12 to 3 p.m., he's going to attend classes that will retrain him and skill him up. And then as industrial parks are being created on certain value chains based on our factor endowments, he is or she is getting a higher level pay in those jobs. Mapped out, shown how it will be done, who to hold accountable when this does not happen. We'll have champions for every activity that government is going to be pursuing. And this is going to be kind of fundamental difference between the promise, oh, we will do this, we will do that, and the kind of offering that will come from this alternative platform. And we are going to ensure that people that we put in positions of authority are people of impeccable character. The trouble of our country is that there's a collapse of culture. Values shape human progress. And what we are seeing makes the point clearly that Nigeria is in trouble because the values are out of whack, because corruption is one of the most terrible things killing us in our country. And I tell you very frankly, if we know how many people die from the effects of corruption, but in Abuja, where I'm speaking from, they really don't care. I can tell you about that. Every energy is put into how do you get your own, even if everybody's dying. We will show how this can be done in an operational manner. That is the difference that people will find.
Over to you, Dr. Loretta. What question do you have for the Prof?
Thank you very much, Professor. I have listened to you talk with rapt attention, with the attention of a surgeon, the attention of an academic, the attention of a mother, and the attention of a woman in the Nigerian space, and one that has been well outside Nigeria in many countries and in different capacities. And I just wonder that the way the world is going, we are going into the fourth, if we are not already in it, fourth industrial revolution. The AI times, artificial intelligence, embedded technology, whatever name you want to give to it. This alternative platform that we are thinking about, are there plans in place for us to key into what becomes the current evolution? Because some have said that if we don't key in, it may lead to our extinction. And more so, in keying into all of this, is there any hope for translating this into healthcare? Because whether I like it or not, that's my primary niche. And in Nigeria right now, I don't know what exactly we are doing, even though the Nigerian patients are well worth it, but I don't know what we're up to. AI, how are we keying in alternative platform, and how do we link this to optimizing our healthcare in the current world of the fourth industrial revolution? Thank you, Prof.
Well, thank you so very much. Indeed, the fourth industrial revolution is here. It formally started on the 1st of January of this year. Even though, to be completely fair, the elements that have come to make the fourth industrial revolution, many of them have been around for some time. As an academic discipline, artificial intelligence emerged in 1956, as far back as then. But from the first of this year, we're formally in the fourth industrial revolution. It has implications, consequence for everything. I mean, I can tell you at a personal level how I am sensitive to that and what I have done in concrete terms to contribute to this direction of travel. Because we don't write history very, very much and very well in our country, people tend to forget important, very, very important things. In 1993, late 1993, I think it was, I traveled to a conference of the West African Enterprise Network in Banjul in Gambia. And there, people from small African countries were giving us their cards and they had email addresses. Nigerians didn't have email addresses because we had a telecommunications monopoly called Nitel that did not seem to want to keep up pace with the world. When I came back from that conference, I was teaching a class at the Lagos Business School, and I was so upset that I unleashed it at that class. It was an executive program, included some very senior executives. And I said to them, you mean as business people, you can't be motivated enough to actually engage and change things? Well, we found that a good conversation was generated. But after the class, one participant in that program, a gentleman called Chima Onyekwere, came to me and said, I hear you. And really what you said is what we should be doing. And I would like to do it. But if I do it, I might not gain traction. But if you and I work together to do it, it might move very fast. And so we moved to my office right there at the Lagos Business School. And right there, we created a company called LinkServe. When we began to try to fundraise to implement the LinkServe enterprise, I hosted a dinner at a restaurant called All Seasons in Victoria Island. Invited several of my leading business friends. And I made a presentation on what we're trying to achieve. How we'll lease E1 lines from Nitel, how we had contacted a backbone provider in the UK. I'm trying to remember the name, whatever their name was, the backbone provider. And all of that. And Erastus Akimbola, who was managing director of Intercontinental Bank back then, said, raised his hand and said, yes. Said, fantastic, everything looks so wonderful. There's only one problem. You guys are leasing E1 lines from Nitel. And Nitel being Nitel, and Nigeria being Nigeria. Nitel can wake up one morning and just pull the plug on your lines. And our investments have gone to waste. I was scratching my head trying to find the right answer to give when another one of the guests I invited, another bank MD, Babatunde Dabiri, said, yeah, okay, true, that's a risk that can happen. But in business, we must find ways of mitigating risks. I believe that we can mitigate that risk. I would like to say that this initiative sounds great. I commit. Babatunde Dabiri became the first person to invest in LinkServe. A few weeks later, Nigeria was on the internet. So I'm trying to give you an idea of my personal association in this regard. And years later, another step. We thought that we could create in Delta State a Silicon Valley. We engaged a certain Nigerian who was in Silicon Valley working for Apple, a gentleman called Dr. Aloy Chife. I persuaded a group that I was part of called Organihu and Neoma. And the thrust of the strategy was to establish 3 universities. One was a STEM university, basic sciences focus. was to be located in a place called Idumwesa, not far from Agbo. Another was to be in the Ukwani area, Terry Otuya's hometown. We acquired land there, and it was to be an applied science university. And the third was to be a combination of business school, applied science, with a tech park, and and this was to be at Ila. We acquired the land. Community gave us this land, and we called the project to make this happen Leapfrog Ventures, and we appointed Dr. Aloy Chife, managing director of Leapfrog Ventures. And then the thing that ruins us the most in Nigeria kicked in. Very sad story. I've told it many times. I have it in a chapter in a book. James Ibori was then governor. By accident, I ran into James Ibori and I mentioned it to him. I said, no. I have to do the commissioning of the turning of the sword. We didn't plan to talk to government at all about it. Peter Okocha was in my company that day. Cut a long story short, some people in the Delta state government then began to conspire. How can you let these Anyama people get ahead? And they actually sabotaged the project. It's a terribly crazy story, but Emmanuel Udwaha, who was SSG at the time, apologized to me publicly when he became governor about what happened to that project. The loser is all of Nigeria. But out of it, because it didn't go to waste, out of that initiative, after they sabotaged it, even put out adverts in Nigerian newspapers, dissociating themselves from something they were not associated with. It's really terrible. Shows you how Nigerian politics can go. We created, out of this initiative, a company called Socket Works. I was the first chair of Socket Works. The e-passports that Nigerians carry around today was the effect of Socket Works intervention. So I think that these antecedents must say to us that anybody who wants to see the future very clearly must look at the play of tech in it.
Prof,
and we believe
definitely you have shown evidence, and I even remember, and I know some of these things you pointed out. Thank you. But with respect to healthcare, I am really about healthcare
actually,
and its current state. Moving forward,
telemedicine is such an important part of what technology can help us do.
Thank you, sir.
In fact, when Adams Oshomole was governor in Edo State, I tried to encourage them. I had some Indian friends who had a system of rural healthcare in India where, with a small thing you can carry around, somebody who is not a doctor can, in a rural area, hook up to a remotely located doctor, take blood sample, and put it in the thing, and the results will be transmitted to the doctor, and the doctor can prescribe. I recommended this to Adams Oshomole when he was governor in Edo State. And so in medicine, we definitely can use the technologies of the fourth industrial revolution to bring healthcare closer to the people. And that has to be a major part of any strategy that we'll go forward with as a country.
Yeah, Prof. I think I want to quickly, thank you, Dr. Oduwari Ogboroko. I want to dive in here. I've got a number of questions I want to ask you from our social media handles, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and all the rest. You just touched on the telecom sector and all that. I remember being a youth copper in Ogun State way back. I was in Agbara. I used to go as far as Ota just to buy a calling card because I want to make calls to my family in Benin. It was that. I will even get to Ota, pay transport, very long journey, and then I get there, I cannot even get calling card to buy. It was that bad. So,
well, thank God we moved forward from there.
Yeah, we have moved forward. Now, we have done it in banking. Our banking system, at least is fitting into global best practice. We have done it in telecoms now with the GSM thing that came up during President Obasanjo's administration. We have done it even in the media, where we have private. Before, we used to have just only NTA and state TV stations. So how are we going to also use this alternative platform, thinking of really using this kind of private sector mindset in our politics? What is the driver that is being put in place? Nigerians would like to know.
Well, thank you. You are absolutely correct. I mean, the way to get things done is to use private sector creativity and discipline to get things done. I tell you one simple example of this. We are constantly talking about, some governor will build 2-kilometer roads, spend more money than it costs to build the road to flag it off, and so on and so forth. But we know that in many parts of the world, most of the infrastructure leapfrog in Southeast Asia was private capital provided. In fact, one of the leading countries in private funding of infrastructure in the world is Australia. When I went to grad school, I lived in a town in the Midwest United States called Bloomington, Indiana. Now, when I went to visit many years later, a good and very dear friend of mine who's an Isham person, Dr. Chris Obeme, I used to call him Obuno Kwa, the big doctor. Chris drove me to Bloomington to go and visit. And that road between Indianapolis and Bloomington is now owned by an Australian bank. Why? Even American states are now selling their roads to private people who then expand the road, add more value, collect tolls, and the state makes this. If we wait for oil money to come to the state to use to build roads, we will never have the kind of infrastructure that will drive the growth and development that we require. A couple of years ago, I came to Australia. I told the story earlier. I think maybe we are not online yet, about being on the streets of Melbourne and somebody recognizing me from across the 6-lane highway. I was a guest of the government of Australia for 3 weeks. I was traveling around Australia, giving lectures. I met with their infrastructure minister and all of that. What did they do? In Melbourne, I visited the G20 infrastructure hub, because the G20 set up a hub that could advise developing countries on how to finance infrastructure and move very far forward. And they said to me, look, we try to help the Nigerian Infrastructure Regulatory Commission, show them the way, but we even came to Nigeria. But you know, your country, sometimes we don't understand why they're not serious with serious things. And it was embarrassing for me. But so my point is that we've got to rely more on the private sector. We've got to create markets. In fact, there's a beautiful book written by a Harvard professor with 2 of his former students, one of which is a Nigerian. And that book is titled The Prosperity Paradox. And the essence of the phenomenon is that, look, when you create markets, markets stimulate the need for infrastructure, and private capital then provides it. And a classic example used in it is that GSM companies. If you recall, when the GSM auction was done, most of the leading telecom companies in the world did not pay any attention to it, because they thought, Nigeria, as usual, they will do what they normally do and all kinds of stuff. Then 2-3 small companies from Southern Africa, Econet, by this Zimbabwean entrepreneur who lives there in London now, Strive Masewa, and MTN, which was a fairly small South African company, came to this auction. I won't go into the story of what happened on that auction day, because I was there physically present, because I was a consultant to NCC. What happened? How many people did they think they were going to serve? All their projections, their feasibilities were very, very conservative. But the market exploded, and they found themselves setting up cell sites and becoming diesel companies because they had to truck diesel to every cell site to provide for generator and so on and so forth. But the airport created infrastructure which the big Vodacoms of this world thought were not present, and therefore made operation out of Nigeria a problem. Now, when Vodacom realized what happened, they began to rush to try and get into Nigeria. But the horse had bolted from the gate. And that's the challenge of private capital. We must pursue the prosperity paradox for the infrastructure that will drive growth and development.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much, Prof. Yes, I know that Dr. Loretta has a very important question she wants to ask, but just tying it to Dr. Loretta's question, Prof, I want to ask you, well, we are still very much on this third alternative, and many Nigerians are interested in this matter because the status quo has to change, and it must change by those who make change for Nigeria. Prof, given all of this happening, and just today we woke up to the news that the ruling party APC may have zoned presidency to the southwest, and the vice to, I think, northeast or so. And with the east, the southeast being gifted with, according to one of the reports, the position of the Senate president. So I just want to ask you, a lot of people believe in you. Are you interested to fly your flag as a presidential aspirant when it comes to 2023, particularly given your enthusiasm, for change as far as Nigeria is concerned? But before you answer that, sir, I'll just you just added to what Dr. Loretta's question would be. Dr. Loretta, over to you, man.
Thank you very much, Comrade Oriaki. And Professor, well done. I'm getting so much insight here. My question is simple. In all of this, whether you are flying a flag or not flying a flag, I think the most important thing is actually the Nigerian people. In all of this, is there room for the diaspora in this alternative arrangement? Whether you fly the flag or not, is there a consideration that the Nigerian diaspora is a potential force to reckon with, sir?
Absolutely. I'll start with your question on the diaspora. I mean, this is something I've proselytized for a very long time. If you look at the development of our world and countries that have made progress, you will see a critical role for the diaspora. The returning diaspora from Germany to Japan following the Meiji Restoration was actually fundamentally responsible for Japan's surge in the 50s and 60s and what it has become. If you look at India, the role of the Indian diaspora in India rising, you cannot, I mean, let me just give a simple example. I mean, I'm a professor of business and I travel frequently to the leading business schools in the world. As it has turned out, Indians have a way of showing up as the department chairs of the leading business schools or deans of the leading business schools in North America. From Kellogg, when Deepak Jain was there, to even Harvard right now, to Wharton, and so on and so forth. When Deepak Jain was dean at Kellogg, there was never a time I was around that he was around. He was majorly going back and forth in India. In fact, served on the board of Reliance Industries. And what these people did was that they focused the consciousness of the executives that came to their programs on outsourcing to India and played a critical role in stimulating the India rising. Indeed, when Joseph Stiglitz wrote the book Globalization and Its Discontents, that was critical about some aspects of the role that the IMFs and co play in globalization. An Indian economist at the Earth Institute at Columbia, which Joseph Stiglitz returned to after he left the World Bank and being chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors to the President, Jagdish Bhagwati wrote a book in defense of globalization. It showed how consistently Indian academics helped India's rise. And you can say the same for China in many ways, and the role of the Chinese diaspora played after Deng Xiaoping opened up China's eyes to the importance of intellect in development and growth. I spent a good part of December and January in North America, and I spoke to various Nigerian groups in Dallas, in Atlanta, in Philadelphia, in Chicago, Michigan, about this importance of the role of the diaspora in stimulating a new Nigeria. So there are many ways it can be done. I can spend hours talking about some of those ways. Unfortunately, I may have to run in a few minutes because I have to be on live television in less than 25 minutes from now at a distance from where I am. But clearly, the diaspora has a very important role to play. It's a shame that diaspora voting is still taking so long to come to our country. But to return to the question of might I, will I, should I run, fly flag, I have never hesitated to do my duty as a citizen. Whatever best advances the common good has played in my repertoire all through my life. Consistently, you will find that the motivation is not self, it is not power. I've turned down cabinet invitations. The records are there, it can be seen. I've written a book that points to some of them. President Yaradua was one of the most persuasive in trying to get me to join his cabinet. And even when I give some thought to it, other things got in the way. Because the cooperative state in Africa can really disrupt the value that anybody brings to the table. But whenever I have been, as Chibulufalai did, try to drag me in, became chairman of the SDP, I became presidential candidate of the SDP, just, because he thought that I was the person best positioned to drive that alternative track. If in looking at things, that's what will make our country work, I will have absolutely no hesitation. But as a matter of personal ego tripping, it doesn't really wash with me. What matters is not a position. As I said to a very important group recently, and I say this with all sincerity, if I will be president of Nigeria to perform like these ones who are there now, may God never let me be even a truck pusher in Nigeria. Because you do not have a title to make a difference. Mahatma Gandhi, anytime you mention India, the first name that comes to the minds of people is Gandhi. People forget that Gandhi did not hold a position like party chairman or minister or prime minister in India. But if what can make Nigeria accelerate its pace, the way Chifalaye put it, when he pressured me to try and be a presidential candidate, I have a duty, I have an obligation to so do.
Thank you very much, Prof. Pharmacist Remiran, please, you will do us the honor of a vote of thanks. It's been very, I know it's not exhausted, but over to you, Pharmacist Remiran. We've had a very pleasant session with the Prof.
Thank you so much, Comrade Lante Orehi and Dr. Loretta Baroko and Dr. Tony Agbons for all the questions we put to Prof today. Prof is in a hurry, he wants to catch up with another one. If not, I would have loved to ask more questions. If possible, we want to create the indulgence of Prof. If we can have you again at some point to elucidate more on the points. But to our viewers and indeed Nigerians, we are grateful for your presence today, your intellectual sagacity and your knowledge and your deep intent of trying to make Nigeria truly great is obvious. And like we say in the local palace, it's audible even to the deaf. May God give you long life, prosperity, and endowment to be able to see that this happen. The Comrade Show is indeed grateful for your time today, and we thank you so very much. We know you are running away, but we'll see you again. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you all so much. It's such a pleasure to be able to join you all. And I wish you more grease to your elbows because Nigeria will rise up again.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
We will allow Prof to leave now because he has another meeting to catch up with. Yes, Dr. Loretta.
Yes, excellent.
I'm trying to hold my breath. But in a few minutes, can you just put this whole meeting, this discourse,
And summarize,
put it in some
perspective.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent, gentlemen. I want to say thank you.
Dr. Loretta, we barely hear you though.
I think she's muted to adjust something there.
Yes, possible. Yeah. Dr. Loretta, are you still with us?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead, ma'am.
But I think I had a little glitch here. I want to say well done, gentlemen, for bringing this colossus onto this platform. In summary, I say what Prof has said is a lot condensed into the few minutes he's been with us here. He's talked about an alternative platform move. He's given the reason why he does not call it the third force. You are not forcing anybody. And it's not, it's an alternative, it's a moving train. And the goal is to get Nigerians onto this moving train. They must come to an insight and an internal realization that it's the time to move. And he's talked about how this alternative is going to ensure that there are no demigods, that the train is moving in consonance with AI, dovetailing into business, education, and healthcare all at the same time, to get the results that will make sure and ensure that there is complete and holistic value for Nigerian lives. He has no doubt that there is hope on the horizon. And to top it all up, he said that he's not necessarily interested in positions. But if the people continue to call on a man like him to fly this flag, it is something that he will give his considerations to, because he's never been one to shy away from dispensing his duties and putting his skills at the feet of his people. On that note, I say I have felt like I have learned from the feet of the master today. What of you, gentlemen?
Pharmacist Remira, I know that there were several questions that we didn't get to. For instance, I was actually interested at some point, we're going to ask him what he thinks about the issue of balance as far as this whole arrangement is concerned. You know, right now, APC is looking at a Yoruba president. Meanwhile, Nigeria is doing so much injustice to the Igbos, you know, given this structure. I wanted to know what he thinks about all of this. But pharmacist, you equally had some questions that, of course, time did not allow us, ask the Prof.
Absolutely. I wanted to ask a few questions on security and what his thoughts are on state policing, knowing that police is local. But I think we might have another opportunity for that. On the issue of who becomes the next president of Nigeria, it is unfortunate that we have brought ourselves to this geographical issue. And I think somebody from the Eastern extraction should, of course, become the next president of Nigeria. But that's not to say that we should give it to anybody on ground of mediocrity. They should be worth it. They should be capable. And we could have gone on talking to Prof. What I find with this discussion today is that Prof is very engaging and he's very savvy. Like Agbon said last week, our problem is leadership. Because once you get a leader that knows where he's going to, he can then direct other people to go there. Absolutely. Imagine engaging this man that's not even president. Look at his wealth of knowledge. I want us to remember the interview with the president of Nigeria in Arise. It was very witty, quite not engaging, and you couldn't get words from the president. So imagine if somebody of this capacity is engaging with journalists, words will come, you will see development, and I also think that he has also learned from us. Something I find very interesting, and that's a big challenge to all our viewers and indeed Nigeria and the African race. Prof has told us, if we are ready, we can decide who leads us. And he gave very good example. I appeal to our brothers in Nigeria, especially the youth, students. Let us take heed. If all the students in tertiary institution, NAS, decide that only 10% of students should vote for a certain given person that they know will change Nigeria, I can tell you, no amount of rigging can turn the tide. It's a big lesson for us and a challenge.
Dr. Agbons, what do you have to say? This has been quite incisive.
Very, very incisive. Our chief host, Comrade Lante, very, very. And I've just been brooding in my mind, listening to Prof last week and today. You can just see excellence, intellect, his cerebral. And this is what I've always said we lack in Nigeria. We never put our best foot forward. And like Pharmacist Remiran just said, I think the Nigerian youth have a real opportunity now. There are so many people like Prof. Utomi. There are so many like him. So for me, I think we've tried all this. I don't know. I'm just trying to look for somewhere. I'm not very good at really abusing people. We've tried this other side. I think the closest we've got to somebody who has knowledge in Nigeria is late President Musa Yar'Adua. But yes. I think his health did not allow him to work. Yes. That was the closest we ever got. Yeah. That was a president that said that the process that made me a president was flawed, and he set up a committee at that time.
Absolutely.
So we need people with people that have sanity, people that have the brain to lead. Because when you see, like the pharmacist Iremira was saying just now, this is somebody speaking from, it's not even in the office, and you can see the engagement, you can see the understanding, you can see the way he's linking things together. But in Nigeria, we have been doing big manism, big man. And when they campaign, they just talk power to this to this, and then they just play music, everybody dance and go home. And we're not getting anywhere. So for me, I want to appeal to the Nigerian people. For 22 years now, we've been trying so many things. Let us also try another one. But the only bit I want to add is that, and I think one of us said it earlier, this other alternative side need to really pull together. If it pulls together, I believe there's a chance that at least Nigeria can start getting a headway.
Dr. Loretta, I woke up this morning to the news that the APC has zoned presidency to the southwest, which almost makes it look like the only candidate right now, aspirant right now, at least we can see is what's his name? Wanna remind me? I don't even
Asiwaju
Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Many of us Nigerians agree he's an old man. Many of us Nigerians equally agree that he may not be very well, as it were, health-wise. And it's not looking like the biggest political party in Nigeria is saying that the only option we have from their own point of view would be Asiwaju. But before you respond, just take a look at this video footage. It surfaced, I think yesterday or day before, to put his perspective.
part of your master plan. You be there, and after this story, I will a youth, and I will do. Part of your master plan. You be there, and after this story, I will a youth, and I will do.
Well, I asked you this question because you are a doctor, and I could see visibly his hands shaking. You know, and I mean, credit to those who recorded this and put it out there. This is what Nigerians are playing with to take us into 2023 and beyond. Very many of them, and predominantly many of them are youth like you and I. I don't know how you respond to these. You know, giving just opposing this scenario with the possibility of having this other alternative that we are talking about right now as a matter of national discourse.
Thank you, comrade, and the other gentlemen and everybody listening. You started by saying that a particular party has zoned their candidature to a particular place in Nigeria, and then you played video of an individual who, yes, appears to be having early onset, either some sort of Parkinsonism or maybe anxiety issues, or I'm not going to be able to make a diagnosis until we have the full history and maybe investigations made public or reviewed by myself. Now, I'm telling you that any party zoning their candidacy to a particular region of Nigeria does not really matter if democracy prevails, because democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The reason I'm saying this is simple. They are zoning their candidacy. They are not zoning the presidency. Let's get it right here. The presidency is the sole prerogative of the Nigerian people. And we, the people, are supposed to then put our machineries to work to then decide if we want a shaky president, an intellectual president, a round peg in a round hole, or a square peg in a triangular hole. That becomes our prerogative, and that happens with our voters card and exercising our civic duties and our responsibility of followership. In a situation where we don't do that, then anything can be thrust onto us. So for me, zoning anything to anywhere, if we are being honest, the Nigerian people can upturn anything because power actually lies with us. But the problem is a lot of us do not engage. When you engage, sometimes even your families will tell you, you want to die, you will not hide your head, this man or this girl, and then there's this, and Prof spoke about it. There is apathy, there is distrust, there is a lack of people wanting to actually exercise their own rights. Once we do that, then we have no fears whatsoever, whether a candidate is wearing pampers or shaking or not, because we, the Nigerian people, know what we want and will do it. But the problem is that we ourselves, we thwart our wishes. We are sort of auto-destruct, auto-alienating or killing ourselves. There's something in medicine you call autoimmune response, when the body decides that, it wants to fight itself. And sometimes I see Nigeria in a perpetual state of autoimmune struggle. So I think to get past these problems and these challenges, we should continue to appeal. And this is why this kind of engagement being done by the comrades and friends should be commended. We should continue to appeal and assail. Look at the words you appeal to, and then you assail the minds and the memories of your people with the alternative. You bring them out to them, even when some of them don't want to come out, so that our people can actually begin to know that there are alternatives. Because sometimes they don't even know, or the alternatives they look so far away. Someone commented the other day and said, so Prof can speak pidgin. You know, it's not only all those politicians that just decide it's time to start eating corn, hugging people, speaking pidgin. You know, even the technocrats can do these things, and they're as close to the people as can be. So it is important, rounding up, that we actually take the power that we have into our hands. Singapore is working, United States is working, the UK is working, because the followership is actually taking power into their hands and holding their leaders accountable. And let anybody not tell me, oh, it's UK. No. The UK once upon a time was almost like this Nigeria, but people stood up. A critical mass stood up and said, we need to change it. The same thing can happen in Nigeria. The UK Prime Minister was being dragged about the other day for just a party. That's what somebody called it. So, what is the problem? The person hold party. I said, no, that's not the question. It's not whether he held the party. He needs to be accountable to the people. So, my brother, anywhere anything is being zoned to, in my opinion, doesn't really matter. We saw this play out in Edo State. We saw the people actually say, no, we don't want this. We saw it in Anambra as well. The consciousness is waking up. We just need to sustain it. We need to sustain these pockets that have shown that they are barometers, they are pointers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Look, we are not going to dwell on it. We are going to have, coming our friends, we are going to have a long time to, it is road to 2023 to discuss this matter. But the reason why we are not going to dwell on it is because there's something that's special outside of all of these shenanigans, all of these quagmire of politics, in Nigeria. Comrade Dr. Tony Agbasewafe, congratulations to you and to Mrs. Agbons for the special birthday. We're not going to forget. The beautiful lady, that's Dr. Agbons' wife. Beautiful woman celebrating her birthday today, and right live on air, I want to say very happy birthday to you, Madam Mrs. Agbons. In fact, this coincidence is one of a kind, to be very honest, and of course, though she's not here live with us, the assistant celebrant is here. That is Dr. Agbons. Dr. Agbons, how the matter be since now?
My brother, everywhere is still for this side though.
Everywhere is still, Avi.
Yeah, so everywhere is still.
Dr. the pharmacist Rebira, I hope you are not jealous of this situation though.
I am absolutely jealous. Comrade, you are the CNC. You are not supposed to be doing this. This is supposed to be done by myself and Dr. Loretta. We have planned a package, but because you are always a metaphysics man,
yes, get crashed.
You decipher the whole thing and you just
he's taking the wind out.
My brother, I have not taken anything. When you mention metaphysics, I have actually gone to negotiate with the powers that be in the other world. That we will rearrange so that for the four of us, our spouses will just come from the same place.
Yes.
So I think we never lose anything, my brother.
I think with this, according to Loretta, this is your thematic approach. We should be thinking of making you president after 2023 because you are very savvy. But having said that,
I will respond to that. I will tell you that flesh and blood is not revealing that to you, my brother. It is the Spirit of God.
I will keep that to one side. Let's come to the moment. I am just very happy because the Comrade Show, Comrade and Friends, have grown up to be a very formidable group. And anytime I see Dr. Tony and yourself, it reminds me that home is well. And home is well because of these two dynamic, lovely ladies that always push their husbands on and hold the home front. And what a coincidence. 6th of March, two dynamic ladies from the same state, about the same area, in comrade show as wives. I am just absolutely happy. And I pray that God will bless them, bless the work of their hands, bless their children, bless every member of their family. Because when they prosper, the husbands prosper too. Hearty congratulations to these lovely ladies. I can't really wait for us to pump champagne to celebrate them. 6th of March is epic, it's epoch, and it's fantastic. Dr. Loretta, what do you have to say? Forget about Tomilante now.
I know.
I
just want to say that people do not actually recognize the quantum, the degree of sacrifice these ladies make. They don't know what goes on behind the scenes that produce what they see every Sunday, or the hosting of the different high profile persons that you all do. They don't even know how much these women would come and tutor you on even things as important, though some may say it's trivial, as pronouncing the names of the guests you are bringing on. I just want to say a very big thank you to these wonderful engine houses of the Comrade Show. They are always there behind the scenes, and they are actually the ones, let's be honest, they are the ones that make things happen. And I celebrate them. They are beautiful women. Una carry I go markets. Una carry, I say as in fine.
Loretta, Dr. Tony and Boss and Comelante, they refused to go to the market in the evening.
They went in
the morning and they got the best.
Yes.
And I must congratulate them because they are making me remember the true Bende State. Born and bred up Bini boys. Very sad. Left all our lovely Lekutes and went straight to Delta State because they were keen on keeping the Bende tradition. Bende!
It's the Midwest. Yes, Bende of the Midwest. Congratulations, ladies, and a very, very happy birthday. And may your homes be blessed. No weapons of the enemy fashioned against your homes, and you shall prosper.
Amen.
So
please, our gentlemen, please take our good wishes, our prayers, and our love back to your lovely madams.
Yes, so just to say that the board of trustees of the Comrade Show wish them excellent celebrations now and beyond.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very
So you cannot respond.
Yes. I think I'm going to, because Comrade Lamte is our chief host, I'm really overwhelmed, and I must thank the fans of the Comrade Show worldwide. It's been, in fact, our phones, both myself and Comrade Lamte, our phones have been ringing. Yeah. You have all been wonderful. You showed us so much love. And Pharmacist Remiran, yourself, your wife, Dr. Loretta, yourself, your husband, our chief surgeon, you've all been wonderful. We just can't thank you enough. And we really appreciate. And I think our missus, both of them have spoken today. They are virtually from the same locality.
Sorry to interrupt you, but someone is saying, Destiny Obiebo is saying, we are not foresee all those beautiful women. I beg we could not give me hints.
No, don't worry, my brother. Don't worry. We go put you for
out of camera.
Yeah, off camera. Yeah, Lantry, bless we go charge this guy some dough for this. Yes. How you see him?
We go anyway. We talk off camera. Later we go issue. This not be public matter because if everybody pack go there, people don't go see again in future.
True. So what do you have to say, Comrade?
Honestly,
this coincidence, I've done my research. It is actually 1 in a million to have, because we met and then we started this show for our wives to have the same birthday from the same states, and they are even like a boundary separate where they come from in Delta. My brother, how you see this matter?
I'm just wishing that my wife and Dr. Douglas Oko will have the same birthday, but wishes not they happen like that. So, I'm feeling, well, it's okay.
Don't worry, not turn by turn, we go do something.
Don't worry. Igba will not going say. The next one has been arranged.
So, comrade, we wait your speech, yo.
No, honestly, no. Wait till I go talk after Dr. Agbon's don't talk. Honestly, we are humbled, honestly. Really, really humbled. It's a very pleasant coincidence. Each time I think of him, they make me they laugh, honestly. March, 6th of March has actually become a day that is, more special than it used to be, to be very honest. Because of, and again, the outpouring of love, of kindness, it's been overwhelming, to be honest. And I mean, I go suppose go walk in the next few minutes. I didn't even think now I go cancel one, because which kind of work I want to go walk when they say all these many.
You should cancel it.
See, all these many celebrations. Never still finish. So as I did here now, my nose, they receive seriously because of what they go for inside kitchen.
You have to cancel that work.
So I'm honestly grateful to you guys, because you guys came to give this whole process a deeper meaning. And when the Benin people say, they make a parable, so there's a reason behind it, and until you get to that point.
Bakare says that Austin is jealous.
Oga Bakare one shakes on table.
No. I think Austin is very happy that he's part of this connectivity.
Absolutely.
Because everybody know if you just like not carry head face one side. You understand what I'm saying now? So because the waiting this special past the day when the Austin's birthday and the wife's own, and of course Dr. Douglas and that of Madame. I mean, day. You understand what I'm saying? And when those days go see come, then we go know say okay, So, but it still boils down to the issue of aim and where, there's a special date with destiny with all of these. And even before we met, say we can't just say okay, can't start this comrade and friends and every other thing. It's been done. God don't do that, and that is why it is written in the book of goodness, chapter 1, verses 1. That a time shall come, in the book of goodness. That a time shall come that there will be convergence of destinies, okay, in portions of a collective goal for the interest of the overall, the good of all. And that is my Itanania. And we are discussing the good of all.
Who is the author of that book of goodness?
These are matters that are
those are
very exclusive.
in-win-win things.
These are in-win-win
things from a song. They are from all those areas.
These are in-win-win things that you just take the message and leave the messenger.
Yes.
The author of goodness has already, and the angels of God were there. So who am I now to now say where? So
But
it's all glory to
two
God.
like good things. Not two like good things.
But it's been humbling, to be honest. I mean, I spoke with Dr. Agbons earlier today with the wife. My wife as well. It was just one, wonderful family. Sharing moments and and with the comments we've been getting, calls. It's honestly a beautiful thing. And honestly, I mean my delay I didn't give up. Now this Agbon's wife place Naomi fair go. But they can say you don't finish. Now the issue was that I don't come far. I'm not be saying I'm moto na legati waka. That's why let me just try the next. It's just like when the Portuguese came to Yoruba land, they were supposed to go back. Yoruba people can say that there are some people when they call Ile Ibinu for front. People when they verse. Those ones they come, can they take come? It's not easy to go. Let me just try where we can explore. And they got to Benin and found out that now land of treasure that they reach. So that was my case. And for me to try go back, let me just go to the next village. I see this matter. You there here? Now me go that side.
His rib was not in the first village. His rib was actually in this second village.
and that is why my sister, when I started saying earlier that okay,
I'm your bobo no mo say the second.
aha, how you are?
A beautiful flower to translate for those who are not.
And I'm going to show now, so now.
We're plucking all these beautiful flowers in Delta State.
But,
honestly, jokes apart, I'm humbled. I'm humbled, honestly. Why I always say thank you so very much.
Congratulations
For all the followers of the Comrade Show everywhere. You know, you guys have. Don't join us to make our day, and we are humbled. We are grateful. We are thankful, and we pray that God will, continue to give us, long life with good health and wisdom to navigate this very difficult terrain. Because sometimes when you think of this Nigeria as a state, you could just be like, say, make you just take a different decision. But there are still so many good things where they make us happy to remain.
There's a lot of
these ones are part of the good things. Having Nigerian wives, having Nigerian children, having Nigerian friends that have become families. So many things to. So it's not all bad Nigeria. Politics may be bad, insecurity may be bad, economy may be bad, but family is good. Good friends are good, and all of these make up the entire meaning of what this life should be. And to that extent, there's a balancing act to the whole process, and we are grateful, honestly.
Yeah, thank you, Comrade Lante. I just want to read something that Destiny Owebo said. I too love these 4 people. You guys are very philosophical. It seems you guys were all classmates during school time. Thank you for that. We're not all classmates during school time, but coincidentally, we are all products of the great University of Benin. While we celebrate the wives of this
president of the University of Benin alumni, United Kingdom here.
Absolutely. Yes. So it's good. While we celebrate them, I think we should just extend the hand of fellowship to all our viewers and top fans. Anybody celebrating today, we wish them a very happy birthday too, and their families.
Yeah. So, one said he's celebrating tomorrow. One of our
he said his own and those tomorrow. That have celebrated that
you don't mention the name. Mention the best name now. The one to celebrate tomorrow.
I'll look for it. Yeah, I'll look for it. While you continue, I'll find it.
People are still owing rents. I don't know. You have to go and make amends.
Yeah.
So
they're asking for presents. Henry Bakar is asking for his present.
Yeah. Now we want to give them, they want to give us.
Clifford. Pedro Clifford says he's here. He must be.
Pedro. Pedro Clifford, happy birthday to you, bro, from the Comrade Show. Happy birthday to you.
God bless you, Pedro.
Don't worry, for all the good people, we will.
Are there bad people? Are there bad people, sir? You just said all the good people.
Yeah, I couldn't really get the name, but there's one of our
when I mean all the good people, the Benin say, you cannot tell me now that a Boko Haram woman on money, or
what does that mean? Iremira and myself, we don't understand what that means.
No, there are good people.
I understand. Let us not go down that route. It's been a sweet moment. Commodore Raki, the most important thing is that our wives and indeed all of us, we are celebrating. May joy never depart from you. Long life.
Amen.
Amen.
And all the people celebrating around their celebrations. People like Pedro Clifford, Henry Bakare, who just celebrated as well. We celebrate them all.
Dr. Kungbawa is March 12th, about 6 days away as well.
Wow.
One of our top fans in the UAE.
Dr. Kungbawa.
Absolutely. Now, you say this match, fact, people, get the one who not take home.
My people are solid people now. You know.
Lante and Tony, don't start.
The rest of us are not funny, Dabi. We are liquid.
No, I'm not so. I know
me not be match now, but from what I've been seeing for this match matter, the matter not be the way I see
the heavyweight name where would they mention? Very Bakare, yeah, from where to be that their fine city for Italy, sir. Don't forget.
He will find you if you don't know that it's in Milan.
Milano. Now so that they call her Milano.
Ah.
So and Dr. Kumbawa,
Milano.
another fine people we put their name, say their own at tomorrow. So it's a great month.
Absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely.
Anyway, whatever month you are born, you make that month great. That's my
Absolutely.
philosophy.
Yeah.
And congrats to the two
I agree with
ladies
that.
and everybody celebrating. Thank
Dr.
you.
Lorda, thank you so very much. You've been
No
a very
problem.
wonderful person. Uwase Kakabo.
Thank you.
Dr.
Yes,
Agbons.
Yeah, I think-
I won't be able to even.
Eri mebe ye man. Ihu me ye war. Ebe no go ye. So we are going to retire now. But just my last word, I just want to cacabolically, as we say, thank every of our viewer today, and even last week, because we know we had to continue this discussion with Professor Utomi because of the technical glitches we had. So there's been a lot of, and apologies, some of the questions we couldn't really take today, some of your contributions, but I can assure you that we're going to pass them to Prof for his answers, and then we will share them on all our platform. We have to do that as a platform. We owe you that duty. So we appreciate you all, and do have a blessed new month. This is a new month. Today is just the 6th. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Dr. Loretta, please, you will do us the honor of closing this session.
Well, what do I have to say? I just say for everything, we should all give thanks. Give thanks to our Maker, everything, and in any circumstance. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls the world over, we say a big thank you to our guests who came in today and threw light on the road to 2023 in Nigeria. Rest assured, we'll probably be having him back. Our guest for next week is yet to confirm, but don't worry, we will bring somebody worth your while down your way. On that note, we say thank you to everybody. Gentlemen, I commend you for your tenacity and your consistency. And we say thank you to your families and to your friends as well. To all our fans, stay blessed. Remain the Comrade Show. See you next week.
Comrade Show, wait, Comrade Lante Oriake. Peace.